Today, we're talking about something most men overlook, yet it has the power to completely change the way a woman sees you. The longer you stay silent, the deeper she feels it. Now let's make sure we're on the same page. When I say stay silent, I'm not talking about giving the cold shoulder out of anger, being immature, or playing games just to hurt someone. I'm talking about understanding the psychological weight that silence carries, and how it can flip the entire dynamic between you and a woman. You see, words are everywhere. Texts, calls, social media posts, likes, comments. But silence? Silence is rare. Silence stands out. And when it comes from you, especially after a woman is used to having your attention, it's like pulling the oxygen out of a room. She notices. She feels it. And the longer it lasts, the more it forces her to think about you. Not because you chased, but because you didn't. Here's where it gets controversial. Silence often has more power than any sweet talk or endless explaining you could ever do. Most men think if a woman pulls away, they should send another paragraph text, explain their side, convince her of their worth. But in reality, that only makes you look desperate. Silence, on the other hand, flips the script. It forces her to wonder, why isn't he reacting? Why doesn't he need me to respond? This isn't about being cold-hearted. It's about understanding that emotional impact comes from space. And when you stop filling every gap with your voice, she has no choice but to fill it with her own thoughts about you. If you've ever wondered why some men walk away and suddenly the woman starts chasing, it's because silence isn't emptiness. It's a mirror. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how to use it. 1. When your silence speaks louder than her words. Most men underestimate just how loud silence can be. You might think that not responding, not calling, or not texting is doing nothing, but in reality, it's saying a lot. And sometimes it says more than any argument, speech, or romantic gesture ever could. Here's the thing. Women are naturally tuned into communication. They listen to words, tone, even the smallest changes in how you say something. But when you take all of that away, when your voice disappears, she's left with one thing, her thoughts. And if she has feelings for you, or even a hint of ego tied to your attention, those thoughts will start getting louder and louder in her mind. Your silence sends a message she can't ignore. It tells her you're not desperate for her attention. It tells her you can live without her. It tells her that you're not playing the role she expects. And that forces her to question the whole situation. This is where it gets interesting. Silence flips the script because it shifts the power of interpretation onto her. She starts asking herself, did I do something wrong? Why hasn't he called me? Has he moved on already? The truth is, she's doing all the talking now, but only inside her own head. You're not feeding her answers. You're not giving her clarity. And that uncertainty, that's powerful. Think about it. Most men, when faced with a distant woman, react by chasing. They try to explain themselves, prove they're worth it, or fix things right away. But all that does is keep the woman in control, because she gets to decide if and when she gives a response. Silence turns the tables. She's the one now wondering what's going on, and the longer you hold it, the more she feels the absence. Of course, silence only works if you're genuine about it. If you're sitting there staring at your phone every minute, waiting for her to text, that energy will come through eventually. True silence comes from truly shifting your focus back to yourself, your life, your goals, your purpose. When your life is full, your silence has weight. And here's the controversial part. Sometimes silence will make her realize what she had to lose faster than any good guy move you could make. Not because you're trying to punish her, but because she's suddenly forced to see what it's like without you. That's a reality check most women don't expect until it's too late. When you master this, you'll understand that silence isn't about shutting her out. It's about letting her own thoughts become your loudest message. 2. The mind games she plays on herself. Without you saying a thing. When you go silent, you're not just removing your voice, you're creating a blank canvas in her mind. And the thing about a blank canvas? People can't resist filling it. She starts imagining scenarios, drawing her own conclusions, and running through what-ifs at 2 a.m. That's where the mind games begin. And the best part? You're not even the one playing them. Think about the movie Inception. In that film, the whole premise is about planting an idea deep enough in someone's mind so that they believe it's their own. The characters don't force the idea on the target. They simply set the stage, then let the target's own mind do the rest. That's exactly what happens when you stop talking to a woman who's used to your attention. At first, she'll brush it off. He's probably busy. But as hours turn to days, she starts digging for reasons. Is he talking to someone else? Did I push him away? Has he lost interest? The thing is, every possible answer she comes up with creates a new emotional reaction. Jealousy, guilt, curiosity, even fear of losing you. And because you haven't said a word, she has no way to confirm or deny any of it. That uncertainty is what makes the silence so powerful. In Inception, the idea grows until it completely changes the character's reality. In your case, your absence grows until it changes how she views you. You go from being the guy who's always there to the guy she can't quite figure out. And let me tell you, curiosity is one of the strongest attraction triggers there is. Now here's the controversial twist. When you say nothing, you allow her to paint her own picture. And often, that picture is more intense than anything you could have told her directly. If she's the type who values attention as a form of validation, your silence can feel like you've taken away a piece of her identity. That's why some women suddenly reach out, not because they miss you in a romantic sense, but because they can't stand not knowing where they stand with you. The real magic here is that you're not manipulating her. You're simply not interrupting her thought process with your own explanations. You're giving her the space to think, feel, and react. And in many cases, her own mind will be harsher on her than you ever could be. Like in Inception, the most powerful moves are the ones where the other person doesn't even realize you've made them. That's what makes silence such a masterstroke. It lets her mind play against itself while you keep living your life. 3. Why every hour of no contact feels like a week to her. We've all experienced it. Waiting for something we want makes time slow down. Whether it's sitting in traffic, standing in line for food, or waiting for a package you've been excited about, every minute feels like an eternity. The same thing happens in relationships when a woman is used to your attention, and suddenly, it's gone. When you stop reaching out, the clock doesn't tick at the same pace for her anymore. Sure, she might act unbothered on the outside, posting selfies, sharing memes, maybe even laughing with friends, but when she's alone, that silence you've created starts stretching time. Think about this. You order food delivery and the app says your order will arrive in 35 minutes. At first you're fine. You scroll on your phone, maybe watch a video. But when you check the clock and it's only been 7 minutes, you suddenly realize you're counting every second. The anticipation builds and your mind keeps going back to it. That's what happens when you go silent. At first she tells herself he's probably just busy. But after a few hours, she starts checking her phone more often. By the end of the day, those hours feel like days because she's not in control of the interaction anymore. Here's the part most men don't realize. Time moves faster for the one in control and slower for the one waiting. When you were texting her all the time, you were the one waiting for replies. Now that you've gone quiet, she's the one checking her notifications, wondering if she'll hear from you. It's the same reason why as kids, the last week before summer break felt longer than the entire school year. Anticipation distorts time. When she doesn't know when or if you'll break the silence, every minute is magnified. And here's where the psychological impact kicks in. The longer something feels, the more weight it carries in the mind. An hour without a message from someone she barely knows? Forgettable. An hour without a message from you when she's used to daily attention? That's noticeable. Multiply that by days and your absence becomes a presence in itself. This is why men who stay calm and don't rush to break the silence end up holding the stronger position. You're not ignoring her out of spite. You're simply not interrupting her experience of missing you. The clock works in your favor now. In everyday life, waiting can be frustrating, but it also makes the end result feel more valuable. That's the irony. The longer she waits, the more your presence will matter when and if you return.